My sister texted, "We're using your house for Dad's birthday," then told me to book a motel while she put Mom, Dad, brother, and her kid in my rooms. So I changed the entry code, watched them try the door, and posted the video in the family chat. The text came through while I was standing at my kitchen counter eating toast over the sink because I live alone and there is nobody to judge how I eat breakfast. My phone buzzed once, my sister Delaney's name on the screen. I opened it with my thumb still holding a piece of crust. "We're using your house for Dad's birthday, July 28. Everyone's coming. Mom, Dad, Travis, and Milo. You'll need to clear the guest rooms and make sure the AC is set to 68. Book yourself a motel for the weekend. I'll Venmo you $50 for the trouble." Already told Dad. I read it twice. I set the toast down on the counter next to the bottle of Woodford Reserve that has been sitting on my kitchen counter for 3 years without being opened. The bottle has a small piece of masking tape on the neck with handwriting on it that is not mine. The handwriting belongs to my cousin Reggie. The tape says, "First night in your own house. You earned this." Reggie drove 3 hours the day I closed on this house to help me carry a couch up a staircase that turns twice. He left the bourbon on the counter and the note on the bottle, and he drove home that night without staying over. Because Reggie is the kind of man who helps you move in and does not make you host him while you do it. I have not opened the bottle. I have looked at the note maybe 300 times. I look at it when the house is too quiet, which is most nights, and the note reminds me that the quiet is mine and not something someone gave me permission to have. I put my phone down. I picked up my toast. I finished eating it over the sink. Then I opened the security app on my phone and pulled up the access log from my front door. 14 entries I did not authorize in 18 months. The log showed them all. Date, time, code used, door opened, door closed. The code was the one I had given Delaney 2 summers ago to water my plants while I was on a job in Knoxville. I had told her to use it once. She had used it 14 times. 3 of the entries were on weekends I was traveling for work. 4 were on weekdays I was at job sites across town. 7 were on dates I had to cross-reference with my calendar to figure out where I had been, and every single one of them was a day I was not home. I did not know yet what the 14 entries meant. I would know by Thursday. By Thursday, I would know everything. I install security systems for a living. That is the short version. The long version has a state low-voltage license, an alarm installer certification, 11 years of running wire through attics and crawl spaces, and a client list of 42 commercial properties and 19 residential accounts in the Nashville metro. I install access control panels, commercial cameras, smart locks, motion sensors, and alarm systems. My company is me and a part-time helper named Clint, who I call when the job needs 4 hands instead of 2. My house is my portfolio piece. Every contractor who installs kitchens has a nice kitchen. Every painter has clean walls. I have a smart lock on every exterior door, a camera on the front porch and the side gate in the garage, a motion sensor in the driveway, and an access log that records every code entry with a timestamp accurate to the second. The system cost me $11,000 to install. I did the labor myself. The parts I bought at contractor pricing. The monitoring runs through my own server in the hall closet. Nobody enters my house without me knowing. That is not paranoia. That is professional pride. The house is a 3-bedroom Craftsman on Bellwood Avenue. I bought it 3 years ago for $289,000. The down payment was $43,600. That money came from 7 years of side work I did after regular jobs. Running cable on weekends for home theater installs, setting up Wi-Fi networks for dentist offices, wiring detached garages. I ate a lot of gas station sandwiches in those 7 years. The house is paid down to $204,000. The mortgage is $1,700 a month. The house is in my name. Only my name. My father Stan has been renting a 2-bedroom apartment on Dickerson Pike for 9 years. My mother Barb lives with Delaney in Antioch. My brother Travis lives in Memphis and comes to Nashville when he needs something from someone, which is roughly every 6 weeks. My nephew Milo is 7, and he is the only person in this family who has never asked me for anything except once. When he asked if he could swim in the backyard kiddie pool, and I said yes, And he said thank you, and that was the entire transaction. The day I closed on the house, Reggie drove down from Clarksville with his truck. We carried the couch up the stairs. The staircase turns twice. The couch got stuck on the second turn. Reggie braced it with his shoulder while I pulled from the top landing. His face was red. His shirt was soaked. When the couch was in the living room, he sat on it, wiped his face with his sleeve, and looked around the empty room. No furniture except the couch. No pictures on the walls, no curtains, just afternoon light coming through the windows and the smell of fresh paint and empty space. He looked at me and said, "This is yours. Nobody else's name is on this. Remember that when they come asking." I thought he was being dramatic. Reggie was being accurate. If this is the kind of story you came for, subscribe to Family Secret Tales and stay with me. Because the text on my phone that morning was not the beginning. It was the last move in a game I did not know was being played. On Tuesday, I sat down at my kitchen table with my laptop and the access log, and I started going through the 14 entries one at a time. The first one was August of last year, a Wednesday. I had been in Knoxville wiring a dental office. Delaney's code was entered at 3:17 p.m. Door opened. Door closed at 3:19. 2 minutes. Quick enough to grab something, not long enough to water plants. The second entry was 3 days later. Saturday, I was at a job site in Brentwood. Door opened at 10:04 a.m. Door closed at 11:48 a.m. An hour and 44 minutes. Nobody waters plants for an hour and 44 minutes. I pulled the camera footage from that Saturday. My system stores 30 days of rolling footage on the server and archives flagged clips to cloud. The August footage was gone from the local drive, but I had flagged the first 3 unauthorized entries when I noticed them months ago, before I understood what they meant. The cloud had the clips. The August clip showed Delaney arriving at 10:03 with a woman I did not recognize. The woman was carrying a camera bag. A real one, the kind with a shoulder strap and a lens pouch. They went inside. An hour and 20 minutes later, they came out. The woman was carrying a tripod that had not been in the camera bag when she went in. Delaney was holding her phone sideways, the way you hold a phone when you are comparing a photograph to the thing it is a photograph of. I opened Airbnb. I searched Nashville. I searched Craftsman. I searched Bellwood. The listing appeared on the third scroll. The photos were professional. The living room with the couch Reggie and I had carried up the stairs. The guest bedroom with the quilt my mother had given me when I moved in. The kitchen with the Woodford Reserve bottle visible on the counter, which meant the photographer had not moved it, which meant the bottle had been a prop in a listing for a house that was not Delaney's. Charming Nashville Craftsman. 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, sleep 6. Private backyard. Quiet street. 5 minutes to Broadway. Hosted by Delaney. 47 reviews. 4.8 stars. $185 per night average. The listing had been active for 18 months. The calendar showed bookings on 12 of the 14 dates that matched my access log. 12 unauthorized entries were Airbnb check-ins. Delaney had been renting my house to strangers while I was at work. I pulled the booking history. I cannot see the exact income on a host account I do not control, but I can count. 254 nights booked in 18 months at an average of $185, $46,990. Delaney had made nearly $47,000 off my house, my electricity, my water, my furniture, and my quilt. I almost called her. I had my phone in my hand. Her name was right there. One tap, one conversation. I could ask her why. I could give her the chance to explain. I could do the thing I have done for 32 years, which is let someone in this family tell me a version of the story that makes what they did sound reasonable and makes what I feel about it sound like a personality problem. I put the phone face down on the table. I did not call. I opened my insurance company's portal instead, because Myrna taught me that feelings come after evidence, and Opal taught me that the math does not care about your feelings either way. I sat at my kitchen table for a long time. I looked at the Woodford Reserve bottle. Reggie's note was facing me. First night in your own house. You earned this. I had earned it. Delaney had sold it. On Wednesday, I found the insurance claim. A Google alert I had set up for my policy number months ago, back when I noticed a premium increase I could not explain, flagged a document. A $6,200 homeowner's insurance claim filed 7 months ago for water damage to the guest bedroom. Filed under my policy number. Contact email was not mine. It was Delaney's personal Gmail. The claim description said a guest had left the bathroom faucet running overnight and damaged the subfloor. A guest. In my guest bedroom. In a house that was listed on Airbnb without my knowledge. The insurance company had paid out $6,200 to a bank account that was not mine. On Thursday morning, I found the credit cards. A collection notice had arrived at my house 2 weeks ago in an envelope I had set aside because it was addressed to Delaney Whitfield at my address, and I had assumed it was junk mail forwarded from an old address. It was not junk mail. It was a final notice on a Capital One card with a balance of $8,400, delinquent 90 days, listing my address as the billing address. I pulled my credit report. 2 more cards. 1 Discover, 1 Chase. Combined balance across all 3 $22,000. All opened using my address. One of them had my phone number listed as the secondary contact. My sister had used my house to make $47,000. She had filed a $6,000 claim on my insurance for damage caused by her Airbnb guests. She had opened 3 credit cards using my address, and now she was texting me to clear the guest rooms and book a motel so our father could sleep in the bed she had been renting to strangers for $185 a night. On Thursday afternoon, I found the eviction. My father Stan's apartment on Dickerson Pike. Lease terminated for non-payment. Effective August 1st. 9 days from now. I found this because Delaney's text had said already told Dad, and that phrase had sat wrong in my chest since Tuesday. The way a number sits wrong in a column when the total does not balance. I called the apartment complex. The property manager picked up on the 3rd ring. I said I was calling about Stan Whitfield's unit. The property manager said, "Mr. Whitfield's daughter called us last week. She said he has a place to go. She was very specific about it. She said he would be moving in with family on the 28th. The 28th. The birthday. The date on the text. A place to go. My house. My 3 bedrooms. The birthday party on July 28th was 3 days before Stan's lease terminated on August 1st. Under Tennessee law, once a person establishes residency in a home for 30 days, you cannot remove them without a formal eviction process. The party was not a party. It was a Trojan horse. Stan would arrive on Saturday with a bag. By September, he would have a legal claim to occupancy. Travis would come on weekends. Milo would come for sleepovers. Delaney would keep the Airbnb calendar running between family visits. My house would become their house, my mortgage, their rent-free hotel. And I would be the man in a motel on Gallatin Road, wondering how a text message about a birthday had turned into the loss of the only thing I had ever built. If you have made it this far, subscribe to Family Secret Tales. The door is about to close. And I am the one who installed the lock. Friday night, I sat at my kitchen table and did 4 things. I changed the entry code on every exterior door. The old code was 6 digits. The new code was 8. The old code had been compromised 14 times over 18 months. The new code was known to one person. Me. The change took 4 seconds per door. 12 seconds total. 3 doors. Done. I filed a report with Airbnb. I attached the property deed showing my name as sole owner, a screenshot of Delaney's listing, and a sworn statement that the listing was unauthorized. I requested immediate removal and permanent suspension of the host account. I filed a fraud report with my homeowner's insurance carrier. I attached the claim document with Delaney's email, a copy of my policy showing my contact information, and a statement that I had never filed the claim and had never authorized anyone to file on my behalf. I filed a credit fraud report with all three bureaus. I attached the collection notice, the credit card applications listing my address, and a statement that the accounts were opened without my knowledge or consent. Then I put the laptop down. I looked at the bourbon bottle. I almost opened it. My hand went to the neck. My thumb touched the seal. Reggie's handwriting was right there under my thumb. First night in your own house. You earned this. But this was not the first night. And what I was about to do tomorrow was not something I wanted to toast yet. You do not toast a door closing on your own family. You close it, and you sit with it, and you decide later whether the quiet that follows is relief or grief or both. I took my hand off the bottle. Not yet. Not tonight. Tonight was for the paperwork. Tomorrow was for the door. Saturday, July 28th, 2:14 in the afternoon. My front porch camera showed a silver minivan pulling into my driveway. Delaney driving, Barb in the passenger seat, Stan in the back with a small suitcase, not a weekend bag, a suitcase. The kind you pack when you are not planning to come back. Travis's truck pulled in behind them. Milo jumped out of the minivan before it stopped and ran toward the front door because Milo is 7 and 7-year-olds do not understand property law. I was sitting at my kitchen table, 15 feet from the front door. The Woodford Reserve was on the counter to my left. My phone was in my hand. The doorbell camera feed was live. Delaney got out of the minivan. She walked to the front door. She punched in the old 6-digit code. The lock display flashed red. She punched it again. Red, she tried a third time, slower, pressing each button deliberately. Red, she tried the handle. Locked, she looked at the lock the way a person looks at a vending machine that has taken their money and not given them the snack. She knocked. 3 sharp knocks. Then the doorbell. I watched her on my phone. Her face was in the camera. Her jaw was set. Her hand was flat against the door. Stan got out of the minivan. He stood behind Delaney with his suitcase at his feet. Barb got out and stood on the walkway with her purse held in front of her with both hands. Travis walked up the driveway and stopped at the porch steps. Milo was pulling on the screen door handle. Delaney knocked again. Harder. I let them stand there for 7 minutes. 7 full minutes on camera. 14 knocks. 3 doorbell rings. 1 attempt by Travis to get in through the side gate, which was also locked and also logged. Milo sat down on the porch step and put his chin in his hands. Stan picked up his suitcase and set it back down and picked it up again. Then I opened the door. I stood in the doorway. I did not step aside. I did not invite them in. The door was open exactly wide enough for my body and not 1 inch wider. Delaney was 2 feet away. Stan was behind her. Barb was on the walkway. Travis was on the bottom step. Milo was on the porch still sitting. The neighbor across the street, a woman named Gail, who has lived on Bellwood for 20 years, had turned off her hose and was standing on her lawn watching. She had been watching since the 3rd knock. Delaney spoke first. She always speaks first. She speaks the way people speak, who have never been told that other people also live in the sentence. The code doesn't work. I changed it. Why? Because it is my door. Knox, it is Dad's birthday. It is. He can celebrate it somewhere that is not my house. Delaney's face did the thing it does before she decides to stop pretending. The polite layer came off. What was underneath was not anger. It was something older and colder. It was the face of a woman who has been taking things from me for 33 years and has never once been stopped and does not know what it looks like when someone stops her. You own a 3-bedroom house and you sleep in 1 room. You live like a ghost in your own hallway. Nobody visits you, Knox. Nobody has slept over in 2 years. This house is wasted on you. You screw locks onto other people's doors for a living, and you cannot even fill the rooms behind your own. Dad needs a roof. His lease is up Tuesday. Travis needs somewhere on weekends. Milo has been asking to swim in the backyard since April. And you are standing in the doorway like a man who bought a house to prove he mattered, and the only thing he proved is that he has more space than he deserves. Gail across the street had set down her garden hose. A man 2 houses down had come out onto his porch with a glass of iced tea. He did not drink from it. He held it. Stan spoke. Stan does not usually speak. Stan waits for other people to speak, and then he walks through the door they opened. But he spoke now, and when he spoke, his voice had the weight of a man who has decided that he has earned what he is about to say, even though he has not earned it. Son, I am 64 years old. I have nowhere to go. Your mother told me you were making room. Delaney told the apartment that I had a place. If you turn me away on my birthday, you are telling this entire street what kind of son you are. His voice cracked on the word son, not from emotion, from effort. He was performing. He had been performing fatherhood for 36 years, the way a man performs a job he applied for by accident and has been promoted in by default. The performance required an audience. The audience was Gail across the street and the man with the iced tea and a woman who had come out onto her porch 2 houses down holding a watering can she had forgotten to fill. 3 neighbors, all watching. My father's voice was calibrated to reach all 3 of them. I looked at my father. I looked at my mother, who was standing on the walkway watching her shoes. I looked at Delaney. You made $47,000 renting my house. You filed a claim on my insurance. And you told Dad's landlord he had a place to go. 24 words. Delaney's face went white in a way I have only seen skin go white in movies. But it turns out it happens in real life too, and it starts at the jawline and moves up. Stan's suitcase slid out of his hand. The handle telescoped down on its own, and the suitcase tipped forward and landed face down on the porch step next to Milo. Milo looked at the suitcase. He looked up at Stan. He did not understand what was happening, but he understood that nobody was going swimming. Barb's purse came down from her chest. Her hands went to her sides. She looked at Delaney, not at me, at Delaney. The look was not surprise. The look was the look of a woman who had known something was going to fall and had been standing close enough to catch it and had decided not to. I took a manila folder off the hallway table behind me. I handed it to Delaney. She took it because she did not know what else to do. Page 1 is your Airbnb listing. 47 reviews. My living room, my kitchen, my quilt. Page 2 is the booking calendar cross, referenced with my security logs. 14 unauthorized entries. Page 3 is the insurance claim you filed on my policy for $6,200. Page 4 is the 3 credit card applications using my address. $22,000 combined. 1 is in collections. Page 5 is a screenshot of the camera footage from August of last year, showing you and a woman with a camera bag entering my house to take listing photos. Page 6 is the metadata from those photos. The EXIF data shows the camera was my mother's phone. Barb took the photos. Barb's hand went to her mouth. You did not know I could read EXIF data because you have spent 32 years deciding that what I do for a living is not important enough to understand. I almost said more. I had 7 years of side work and $43,600 in down payment money, and a couch that got stuck on the second turn, and a cousin who drove 3 hours to help me carry it stacked up behind my tongue. I did not say any of it. The folder said it. The lock said it. The camera had been saying it for 7 minutes, while they stood on a porch they thought was theirs. Delaney was holding the folder. She had not opened it. Her fingers were white around the edges. Stan was looking at the porch step where his suitcase had fallen. Barb was looking at Delaney with the look of a woman calculating how much of this she can deny knowing about. The answer was none of it. Page 6 had her phone's camera metadata on it. She had taken the listing photos herself. Milo stood up from the porch step. He looked at me. He said, Uncle Knox, are we still going swimming? His voice was small, and it was the only voice on that porch that had not done anything wrong. I looked at him. I said, not today, buddy. He nodded. He did not ask why. He is 7 years old, and he has already learned that when adults are standing in doorways with their faces like that. The pool is not happening. Travis turned around. He walked down the steps. He walked to his truck. He got in. He sat behind the wheel for a long time before starting the engine. He did not look back at the porch. Saturday night at 9:47 p.m. I opened the family group chat. 34 people. Aunts, cousins, a few of my father's work friends from when he still worked. 2 of my mother's neighbors from Antioch. I posted the video. 7 minutes of doorbell camera footage. My sister punching the old code. Red light. Red light. Red light. My brother trying the side gate. My father's suitcase on the porch step. My nephew sitting with his chin in his hands. My mother watching her shoes. The audio picked up every knock. The audio picked up Delaney's voice through the door saying, "Knox, open this door." Knox. The audio picked up Milo saying, "Mommy, why won't Uncle Knox let us in?" Below the video I posted one line. She made $47,000 renting my house while I was at work. The listing is still live. Here is the link. I posted the Airbnb link. I posted the insurance claim screenshot. I posted the credit card collection notice. I did not post commentary. I did not post an explanation. I posted receipts. By 10:15, 20 minutes after I posted, 3 people had watched the video. By 10:30, 11, by midnight, 29 of the 34 people in the chat had seen it. The first response came from my father's brother, my Uncle Dale, at 10:22 p.m. He wrote one word, "Lord." The second response came from a cousin in Clarksville at 10:34. She wrote, "Knox, I stayed in that Airbnb last Thanksgiving. Delaney said it was a friend's place. I paid $370 for 2 nights. That was your house?" The third response came from Barb's sister at 10:41. She did not write words. She left the chat. The sound of a group chat losing members is not a sound. It is a silence that gets wider. Then I put the phone down and went to bed. Kettle jumped up on the mattress and curled up by my feet. The air conditioning was set to 68 degrees because that is what Delaney had told me to set it to, and I had already set it there because it is July in Nashville, and I live here. The 8 things that happened over the next 2 weeks are not summaries. The first thing happened within the hour. Airbnb suspended Delaney's host account. The listing disappeared. 47 reviews. 18 months of bookings. 4.8 stars. Gone. The suspension notice said the listing violated platform terms because the host was not the property owner and did not have documented authorization. Delaney screenshot the suspension email and sent it to me in a private text with no words. Just the screenshot. I did not reply. The second thing happened on Sunday morning. Stan checked into the Motel 6 on Dickerson Pike. Room 114, $79 a night. His birthday dinner was a gas station sandwich and a cup of coffee from the machine in the lobby. He ate it sitting on the edge of the bed with the television on a channel he was not watching. Barb drove home to Delaney's apartment. She did not come in through the front door. She came in through the garage because she did not want Delaney's neighbors to see her face. Milo fell asleep on the drive. Delaney carried him inside. The third thing was the insurance carrier. Midstate Homeowners Insurance opened a fraud investigation on Monday morning. They called Delaney at 10:14 a.m. She did not answer. They called again at 2:30 p.m. She answered. The call lasted 11 minutes. On Tuesday, they sent a certified letter requesting repayment of the $6,200 claim plus a $1,200 investigative surcharge and notifying her that a referral to the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation's Insurance Fraud Division was under review. The fourth thing was the credit bureaus. All 3 flagged the applications. The Capital One card, the Discover, and the Chase were all frozen pending investigation. The collection agency that had been sending notices to my address was redirected to Delaney's actual address in Antioch. On Thursday, a collections agent called Delaney's phone at 8:55 a.m., and again at 12:10 p.m., and again at 4:45 p.m. By Friday, she had stopped answering unknown numbers. The fifth thing was the group chat. By Sunday night, 23 of the 34 people had seen the video. By Monday morning, the comments started. An aunt on my father's side wrote, "Delaney, is this true?" Delaney did not answer. A cousin wrote, "That is Knox's house. I have been to Knox's house. That is his couch in the photos." Reggie wrote one line, "He installed every lock in that house with his own hands. She rented it. That is all you need to know." By Wednesday, 11 people had left the chat. The remaining 23 included 8 who had not spoken. The last message visible at the top, above the video, was a photo Delaney had posted 2 days before the birthday, a picture of a cake with Dad written in blue icing, and a caption that said "Family first, always." The caption had aged the way milk ages, quickly and badly. The sixth thing was the friend. On Tuesday afternoon, a woman named Keely posted a message in the group chat. Keely was a friend of Delaney's from high school. Keely had stayed at the Airbnb once. Her message said, "Wait, I paid $740 for 4 nights last November. I stayed in the guest bedroom, the one with the quilt." That was Knox's house? Delaney told me it was a friend's place she was house-sitting. Nobody replied to Keely's message. The message sat in the chat for 4 hours. Then Delaney left the group. The seventh thing was Travis. On Monday morning, Travis called Reggie. Travis said, "Talk to Knox. He is tearing this family apart. Tell him to drop it. Tell him Dad needs a place." Reggie listened. Reggie was quiet for a moment. Then Reggie said, "Knox changed the locks because your sister rented his house for 18 months and kept the money. She filed a claim on his insurance. She opened credit cards at his address. I would have changed the locks at month 1. Do not call me about this again." Travis hung up. Travis drove back to Memphis on Sunday morning and did not call anyone in the family for 9 days. On the 9th day, he texted me 2 words. "I'm sorry." I did not reply because I did not know yet if it was an apology or a bid to use the guest bedroom. The 8th thing happened on a Monday evening, 13 days after the birthday. Barb was sitting on the couch in Delaney's apartment in Antioch. Her shoes were still on. Her phone was in her lap. The family group chat was open on the screen. No new messages. The chat had been silent for 3 days. The cake she had ordered for Stan's birthday was still in Delaney's refrigerator. Nobody had eaten it. The blue icing had started to dry and crack on the letters. Dad, the D was splitting down the middle. Milo came into the living room and stood next to the couch. He looked at Barb. He said, "Grandma, can we go to Uncle Knox's pool?" Barb did not answer. She did not look up from her phone. Milo waited for about 20 seconds and then went back to his room. Barb refreshed the chat. There was nothing to refresh. Sunday evening, 14 days after the birthday that was not a birthday. My living room on Bellwood Avenue. The couch that Reggie and I carried up 2 flights of stairs was in the same spot it has been in for 3 years. Reggie was on the other end of it with his boots off and his feet on the floor because Reggie does not put his feet on other people's furniture. The Woodford Reserve bottle was on the coffee table between us. Open for the first time in 3 years. 2 glasses. The bourbon was the color of late afternoon light. The bottle had been full. Now it was down about 2 fingers. Reggie picked up his glass. He did not make a toast. He does not make toasts. He took a sip and set the glass back down and looked at the front door. The front door was visible from the couch. Solid walnut. I hung it myself, leveled it twice. The smart lock display was glowing small green letters in the evening light. Locked. The camera above the door was recording. The motion sensor in the driveway was armed. The access log was clean. No entries since Saturday at 2:14 when I had opened the door to stand in my own doorway and say no to 4 people who had been saying yes for themselves inside my house for 18 months. Reggie looked at the door. He looked at me. "You good?" A nod. "You sure?" Another nod. He took another sip. He set the glass down. The bourbon caught the last of the evening light coming through the front window. The note was still taped inside the kitchen cabinet. I had not moved it. I would not move it. Reggie had written it 3 years ago, on the night I moved in. And the ink had faded a little, and the tape had yellowed a little, and the words had not changed at all. First night in your own house. You earned this. Across town in Antioch, Delaney's laptop was open on her kitchen table. The screen showed an Airbnb host account appeal form. The status bar at the top said permanently suspended. She had submitted the appeal 3 times. 3 times, the same response. The cake in the refrigerator had been thrown away on Tuesday because the icing had dried completely, and Milo had asked what the brown spots on the D were, and nobody had wanted to answer him. Stan was in room 114 at the Motel 6 on Dickerson Pike. The room cost $79 a night, and his savings had $712 left in them, and nobody had called him in 4 days. His shoes were on the bedspread. The television was on a channel he was not watching. Travis was in Memphis with his phone face down on the nightstand where it had been for 9 days. In my living room, the bourbon was open, and the door was locked, and the house was quiet, and the quiet was mine. Reggie finished his glass. He set it down on the coffee table next to the bottle. He put his boots back on. He stood up. I should head back before it gets late. A nod. He walked to the front door. He put his hand on the handle. He turned back. That note on the bottle. I meant it. I know. Good, he opened the door. He walked down the porch steps and across the driveway to his truck. He started the engine. The headlights came on. He backed out of the driveway and turned north toward Clarksville. I watched his taillights go up Bellwood Avenue until they turned at the intersection and were gone. If this story found you today, subscribe to Family Secret Tales and share it with the person in your life who installed their own locks and was told they had more space than they deserved. My cousin Reggie told me 3 years ago that the people would come asking. He was right. They came. The door was locked. The code was mine. The bourbon was open. And the house that Delaney had sold $47,000 worth of nights in was still standing on Bellwood Avenue. Still in my name, still quiet, still mine. The glass on the coffee table still had a finger of bourbon in it. The lock on the door was still green. The note in the cabinet had not changed.